And what is going on, everyone? And welcome back to another episode of the WeSportin podcast. And today I'm here with two reoccurring guests of Nate the Beast and Gavin J. Wiggins. How are we guys doing today?
I'm
Doing
doing
great.
fantabulous, man.
Doing
Thanks
fantastic.
for
Well,
having me on, man.
it's great that we have two of the AFC East guys here because it's going to be it's going to be easier to talk about this trade that just happened today. So, in a kind of a not really shocking, according to Mr. Nate the Beast over here, but kind of I was more, as I said earlier, I was more shocked of where the trade happened or like where he went to, where he got traded to than where than the trade actually happening, if that makes any sense. Um, so today, Stefon Diggs was dealt finally from the Buffalo Bills, going to the Houston Texans. Stefon Diggs now being paired up with C.J. Stroud, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, along with himself and Damian Pierce. First and foremost, Nate, let me get your first initial thoughts on the deal, let alone Stefon Diggs and his impact on the Bills.
I mean, he obviously had an impact on Josh Allen.
Mhm.
He had an impact from Josh Allen, too. I mean, you can't just figure out guys that do all that, like receiving wise. We don't
Mhm.
get guys that are that big of divas either.
Mhm.
So, had to happen. Both sides were clashing.
Yeah, from seeing through social media and seeing through different kind of parts of, Stefon Diggs, he talked a lot and was very vocal about just things that he didn't like. And I feel like really like the downfall of this relationship between Stefon Diggs and Stefon Diggs and Josh Allen really just came off of really Stefon Diggs. I mean, Stefon Diggs just kind of crumbled the relationship. Gav, I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, you think Stefon Diggs is now turned into the diva?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he's like a 13-year-old teenage girl. He's always starting drama,
Yeah.
always tweeting on Twitter about stuff. I mean, maybe he changes in Houston, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little concerning with his history, and now he's being paired up with none other than C.J. Stroud, up and coming premier quarterback in the league, coming out of Ohio State, first year with D'Amico Ryan. They go to the postseason. Now, I mean, let's just look at it from both sides. Let's look at it from Buffalo's perspective first. Buffalo's perspective. Now they are genuinely without a one. They are without Stefon Diggs. They are now without Gabe Davis. Now they're going to be looking towards the draft to go and see, does Buffalo trade up in this scenario now, Nate?
Um, Possibly defense of the board falls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'd expect so, knowing Brandon Bean's history.
Mm-hmm.
He's not afraid to make moves during the draft.
Yeah.
I've heard
That's
they're really like neighbors. They can make a move like if he falls, don't.
I don't
uh,
think he's falling.
yeah,
Let
I
me
don't
let
think
me
so.
cope. Let me cope.
Yeah. So, I mean, just kind of looking at it, Buffalo's sitting at where, Nate? 23rd, 24th,
28.
28. So they're sitting at 28th in the draft. They're going to be on that back end. They're going to now draft somebody at that position at wide receiver, and it's not going to be great that first year. I mean, now do you think that they go out and not sign, but trade for a guy like T. Higgins or a guy like Cortland Sutton, or I can't think of anybody else right now? T. Higgins, Cortland Sutton.
Brandon Ayuk would be the name that I would most like.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the biggest fan of T for his price. I'd rather get Sutton if he's available for cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that either of those. I know T's probably up for on the table.
Yeah,
I've
because
seen Sutton's name. I don't know.
right now in this situation now you're Josh Allen, right? And you're going in and you're basically saying, okay, so I had a wide receiver one that was arguably top 5 in the league through the years I was with him. Now I'm sitting here with no wide receiver. This wide receiver elevated my game. Does this impact Josh Allen in any form of way, Gavin, in a way of sense? Let's say I'm Josh Allen. My team just traded away star receivers. I'm still not getting the return that I need as I'm putting in a lot, but I'm not getting a lot from the organization. If they fail to build around him within the next year or two, is Josh Allen gone?
Personally, I don't think so. Like I guess he started to like as like he made a big leap when Diggs came into Buffalo, but like these past few years, I mean, he's just been like Gabe Davis outplayed him in the Kansas City game, and he had 8 yards. I mean, he hasn't really done anything in the playoffs, so I think they're fine. They just need
Yeah.
to draft someone.
Yeah. So obviously, in where they're being drafted at 28, there's guys that's going to be there like AD, Xavier Worthy, Brian Thomas Jr. Maybe that's a hard maybe on Brian Thomas Jr. Can any one of those guys fill Stefon Diggs' shoes?
Probably not in the sense that you're looking for immediately. If you go get a guy like Brandon Ayuk, yes,
Mm-hmm.
but it's hard to say.
So you're going to be pairing up Xavier Worthy, AD Mitchell. Nate, do you have a preference on draft wise? I know you've kind of been vocal in a previous episode about what you wanted, but
I really like Brian Thomas Jr. Not high on AD Mitchell. I just think he's just athletic. That's all he really is. I know he's probably not a first rounder. I like Xavier Legette a lot. Troy Franklin.
But I don't think you're getting Leggett in the first
round 1, no, but I would be fine with Legette in total.
Yeah. Do you
I
see
would be
that?
fine with pairing a round 1 receiver with Legette.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, now going into it, what is Stefon Diggs is a free agent after not this year, but next year he's a free agent, right?
Yeah, but there's not a chance he leaves.
Yeah. So Stefon Diggs going into that year, final contract year, he's going to be on the 1-year deal. Kind of looking at where Diggs is at right now, do you think that this Stroud and Diggs pair is going to elevate Stefon Diggs and elevate CJ Stroud to that category of Josh Allen and Joe Burrow? Mahomes is in his own tier, so I'm not even going to say Mahomes, but in that kind of own tier, are we going to see CJ Stroud just absolutely tear it up again, but do even better than last year?
I mean, yeah, he'll do good the first half of the year, but when you see Stefon Diggs crumble under pressure, you'll see where it comes out.
Right. Now, and to look at it too, so Stefon Diggs was dealt away to Houston for a 2024 6th round pick and a 2025 5th round pick, along with Stefon Diggs, who's technically on a contract year. And then Buffalo receives a 2nd round pick in 2025. So just before we dive into Houston's side of the deal, early winner, loser, I would sit here and say that I feel like it's really close, but I would say that Buffalo say has the edge only if Stefon Diggs doesn't resign. But what do you guys think?
For the fact that Buffalo got rid of Diggs when they did and got a 2nd, I think it's a good deal. But when you lose such a good receiver as Stefon Diggs was, it sucks.
Yeah. Gavin, how are you feeling about the deal?
I would say 50-50, but I'm leaning Bills. I mean, they just needed to get him out. He's 31 years old. He's been like regressing kind of bit, but maybe new scenery helps him out in Houston. I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, and now
it will definitely help.
Yeah, now going on to Houston, that team is deadly as can be. I mean, we're talking now CJ Stroud, Joe Mixon, Stefon Diggs, Tank Dell, Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz. With Bobby Slowick now under, being the OC again, coming back after not getting a head coaching job. Bobby Slowick, I feel like after this year has to get a head coaching job. There's no way he can mess this up, right? Like, there's no way Bobby could mess this up. I think
he could. He's known to be very run first type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's always been known for the run. So he was known last year.
Right.
There's a chance they screwed up by running the ball way too much.
True. Gavin, I mean, do you think that, this will benefit Bobby Slowick's case for a head coaching opportunity?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, they got Tank Dell coming back. They got Nico Collins, Diggs. I mean, they're loaded at the receiver position. Dalton Schultz had a great year. I mean, Joe Mixon. I mean, he was mad the past few years with about Cincinnati, but maybe he can get better with Houston.
One person is in shambles and the other is popping champagne.
I mean, if you also look at the facts, Stefon Diggs has gone MIA in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he averages a total of 36.5 yards per game, 0 touchdowns, and a total of 2 drops.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's really that game changer you want in the playoffs.
Yeah.
huge drop versus Kansas City last year.
Yeah, you can't say you want the ball, and then when you get the ball, you drop that shit.
Yeah, it's really shocking to see. It's just because I would have before Stefon Diggs had these little meltdowns. I would have never expected Stefon Diggs to be this kind of player. No.
Oh no, he's always been like this.
I don't know if he
coming
was,
back to Minnesota.
I don't know if he was like that in Minnesota though. But that drop really was detrimental to the relationship between Allen and Diggs. And I feel, you know what, and I don't normally just feel bad for players and all that half the time, but I felt bad for Diggs, man. Not Diggs, for Josh Allen, dude, because Diggs would sit there and yell at the guy, and it's like the guy's doing as much as he can, man. He's already only working with Diggs, trying to get, Kincaid involved, and it's just always the Diggs is just trying to beef. And I'd say I'd give it to Josh Allen for keeping composure and for not himself requesting a trade or not himself requesting anything. That it was just all a Stefon Diggs thing, and he just kind of just shut up and played.
I've also seen Diggs was mad with management for him not getting a say in a lot of things, like coaching wise. I think there was reasons why he wanted to say an offensive coordinator, receiver coach, quarterback coach.
Right.
I think he wanted to say, and they just didn't let him. Like in the big meetings.
Well, Ken Dorsey, I think I even told you this too. I hated Ken Dorsey from the beginning. I thought
he's a literal geek.
Yeah, he really has a competition between Luke Getsy and him for the worst offensive coordinator in the league, without a doubt. Now, where does Buffalo go after this? I mean, Buffalo now obviously going to be looking for a receiver in the draft, but say they get the receivers that they want, they're gonna digress. This is going to be a regression year for the Bills, I would say, regardless.
You're still going to be competitive with Josh Allen, top 2 quarterback in the league. You're still going to be competitive with him no matter what.
Top 2?
Yeah, top 2.
Don't see a reason why you put Burrow ahead. Lamar didn't have a better season last year. The only reason Josh Allen got taken is he had throws a couple more picks than normal.
A couple?
Yeah, couple.
Didn't he lead he was second in the league in picks, right?
Yeah, but he also still leads a top 5 offense every year.
So now, obviously, with weapons now, we're just looking at this before draft. Now he has Khalil Shakir, he has Dalton Kincaid, running back James Cook, and Dawson Knox.
Curtis Samuel.
Are they trying? I'm not saying that they're trying to just be this team, but are they kind of looking at the aspect of, okay, so we had a drama queen on our team. We're going to trade them away. We're going to get our tight ends more involved. We're going to get these little speedy receivers, and Curtis Samuel also. Does that not remind you of another team who kind of is built away in that way at all, or no?
Yeah. It definitely reminds you of Chiefs-esque moves in what they did the year after they lost to the Bucs. They kind of got all the old pieces out and brought in new pieces.
I think that was the year they lost to the Bengals.
It was. So
they're trying.
It's almost like the Bills are reloading in a sense, not rebuilding. They're like going to take
getting younger talent and replacing the old.
So they're just going to try and keep their window longer than shorter.
Yeah. So you trade Diggs away. How much cap space does Buffalo have now after that deal?
Well, you eat $30 million cap this year, but you gain 20 next year.
Okay.
So you lose a good amount I don't think you're doing anything now.
Right.
But you're going to get a ton next year.
So, we're going record prediction now for Buffalo just after the Diggs deal. For me personally, it's going to be between 9 and 10 wins still. Like you said, Allen is just too much of a beast. I don't think they digress that much. It would shock me if they completely just collapsed and Stefon Diggs was the glue hole to that team. I don't think so. But if you had to give a record prediction or just a win-loss, Gavin, what do you think for Buffalo?
At worst, they won 7-8 games, in my opinion. Josh Allen's too good of a quarterback. Their defense is still really good. But I'd probably say they go like 9-8, 10-7, somewhere in that range.
10-7, okay. Nate, Buffalo Bills want to throw a little biasy in there, you can. I'm not going to hate.
I'd say 11-6 still. Probably 10-7. I still think they can win the East. I still think.
It really depends at what they do in the draft. They might go like 1 or 2 receivers now in the draft, just in case, maybe. Because I know they cut their all-pro return man too. What was his name?
Deontay Hardy. He was only a returner. He wasn't a receiver. PT.
Still a key asset though, on regardless of that team. So now moving over to the other side of the deal, which is the Houston Texans. Is it clear cut that Houston wins not only free agency, but now they have just secured the South?
You don't secure anything in April. Let's be frank. The Jets have won the East every single April and March. Yet to do anything. I still think the Jags are still going to be solid. Titans will be good. Colts will be good. Well, Titans are going to be mid.
Disagree.
What do you mean?
I feel like Titans could be good. I mean,
they can be good.
If Will Levis has a breakout year, I mean, they could compete.
Well, obviously, but I think just knowing their roster right now, I think they look like more of like an 8-win roster, like 8-9-win roster.
But isn't that enough to win the South?
No way. If Houston's this good, though, Houston can get 12, 13 wins.
I think 8-9 could get them at
that division though, minus the Titan team a couple years ago and the who else?
I think
Jaguars team. That division is solely known for winning 9-10 games. That division can have all.
I think Houston's so good this year. They're gonna win like 12, 13. I know, like
12.
They got so much better defensively.
They did load up. I mean, Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson off the edge. They had Tank Dell. He was out like half the year.
They've had like 14 additions this offseason, like 11 defensively.
So now I will obviously the division the free agency comes down to the winner wise. Now it comes down between those two teams in that division because there's just no other way to say it. But if you had to pick between the Titans or the Texans, who won that division? Who won free agency? Because you could sit here and say Will Levis looked okay with what he had. He only really had Hopkins and a healthy Henry, and that was really in Chikakwanu, if you really want to put his name out there too. And that was about it. Now you've given him phenomenal weapons now. He's got I feel like Tony Pollard can really help out with Will Levis. And then you have Texans who CJ Stroud was working before. I mean, I'm only going to say this before the 2023 season. CJ Stroud was working with unproven rookie Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz, who people thought was just washed, and Devin Singletary, who people thought was just going to get passed around, running back, passed around, journeyman. And now we're sitting here. They're reloaded. Who would you say wins free agency in that aspect? Because it comes down to those two teams because what they did for their team alone.
Tennessee got way better as a team. Houston made more big moves. Actually, Titans could get Snead and Ridley.
Titans really fixed what they've.
Tennessee got better as a whole, like as a whole team.
Mm-hmm. See, Tennessee was looking for that corner that they've always needed. They've never had a true lockdown corner in a long time.
Tried him Farley.
Yeah, and then they said, fuck it, we're going to go out and get L'Jarius Sneed and Chobi Awuzie, and now they're set at corner, set everywhere. Houston's problem was they will never ever getting big name guys. Nate, are you water?
Yeah, my bad, brother.
Okay, you're good. So, I mean, both teams came in and just fixed what they had to. So, straight answer, Nate. Who are we taking?
Tennessee. Like Tennessee got over better as a whole. It's close.
Even with the fact that we're going into with their roster with obviously Will Levis is the quarterback. What we saw with Will Levis.
We're not talking straight off season.
Yeah, we're talking straight off season.
Oh, I think Tennessee's had a better off season for what they've gotten.
They got a
wide receiver roster going into it.
Really,
they got their things they need. I mean,
yeah,
they need corners. They overpaid. They got Snead and I mean, they overpaid them, but like some things you got to
overpay to get guys you want.
I see. I feel like after today it was Houston. I mean, they got what? They got Diggs. They got Mixon. They got Schultz back. They went and got Danielle Hunter. They have Will Anderson still, and there's not a lot of fixing that they need. Their line is still nice. that team's going to be really good.
Mixon's like mid though. Mixon's been mid.
Yeah, but all they need Mixon to do is just get 900 to 800, 900 yards. They're not asking for. And Joe Mixon hasn't he turned into more of a pass back recently, more than a running back? Really, I thought Chase Brown was taking over for that full-time running role, and Mixon was being moved to a third down back.
No, it's the opposite.
Oh, I could be wrong, but I don't know. I think Houston did very well. I think Tennessee did very well. When I'm looking at now with free agency success, now I'm going to look and see, like how is their roster going to look after this? I just think what Stroud was given and what Will Levis was given, I think that there's more of a safety blanket for CJ Stroud than there is for Will Levis. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah. But that Texans offense is going to be so nice. You got CJ slinging it around to Tank Dell. Diggs like the professor as a route runner. I mean, and then you have Nico Collins. He reminds me of a little bit of Andre Johnson-esque, like the way he kind of plays, man.
Yeah. He's like what, 6'3"?
Yeah, he's pretty big. He's not as good, obviously, but
yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying is that, and this is not a shot at Will Levis, but it's just that if I'm looking at what everyone did this offseason, there's a safety blanket over Houston because of the quarterback play, because CJ Stroud balled out all season and Will Levis balled out for half the year. We don't even have a full sample size of Will Levis. We have a little bit, but we have a full sample. We have a not that big of a sample size on Will Levis. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Buffalo rebounds off of this, maybe in the next couple of days. I don't know. Has Buffalo brought in any guys in top 30 visits for wideout?
I know they did Troy Franklin and Tez Walker. I don't know about anyone else.
Okay, it's Tez. Really, they brought in Tez Walker and not Brian Thomas or anybody else.
They're going to eventually, I assume.
And it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. I'm surely excited for this. This was a big deal news and big news and around in the league, and I was shocked that I wasn't shocked that it happened. I'm just shocked at who did it, because I did not think that Houston was going to be the team to do it. So, I mean, do you guys think any other big moves will happen soon? Any moves that we'll just be shocked by within the next 2-3 weeks before draft day?
IU could get moved. T. Higgins could get moved. Probably not, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to be all draft night.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe like a bunch of teams trading up. Maybe players will be involved. I don't know.
Maybe the Vikings move up. Denver moves up. That's really all.
One of them probably will.
The Raiders.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But thank you guys all for watching. It's gonna be a really short video today. Dylan and Chris were both not here, so Nate and Gavin popped on in. Thank you guys all for watching. We will be back next week, and yeah, let's go DJ Burns.
Boom.